All right, hey guys, and hope you're all doing really good. And today I'm here back with a review of Back for Blood. And well, so far I've finished the main campaign in the beta, and I've released my video on it. I also initially released an initial video just to get into the game and experience it. And I've been a big fan of the Left 4 Dead series. I mean, who isn't? Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 are some of the best zombie shooter games probably ever made. And there's I don't think any game that has come close to the feel of Left 4 Dead. Though there are many other zombie apocalypse style games that definitely may top it in other areas. You know, like Dying Light, definitely in the aspect of the community, and there are other games with story aspects like just general Walking Dead games and stuff like that. So there are many different approaches to the zombie genre, but in terms of just being the FPS, the first person shooter, kind of, just all out blazing hack and slash sort of, rush in and kill zombies, it's Left 4 Dead. And Back for Blood is sort of the Left 4 Dead 3 that we ended up getting. And while Left 4 Dead 3 may never ever see the light of day, Back for Blood is certainly something that is going to help us fill the void for a good long time, because so far, based on my impressions of the game, it has been pretty awesome. And I'm going to start off by explaining to everyone what are the elements in the game and what's really different about it as well, and also what makes it better or worse than the previous installations, and whether this is one that's here to stay. So the first elements that you have to look into are the cleaners, or the characters that you get to pick up to play this game. And these people are part of a crew who are sent to sort of take action on this zombie apocalypse. So there is an origin which I'm really happy about. I love lore in a story, and the elements that make you feel that the world is well thought of, well built, and well designed, and there is reasons for things taking place and for people taking action, so that whatever you do actually feels like um, you're achieving something in the game. And it's not just the scoreboard or whatever. It's also the fact that you're seeing change in terms of both your skill level, your gameplay, and also you learn things as you go on. You're rewarded with story, you're rewarded with value in terms of your attachment to certain characters and to certain play styles and to certain strategies. And I love these sorts of elements, which is what build the world itself. So as for the cleaners, there is Doc, and Doc's basically the guy who can give the team what do you call this healing. He has his own healing efficiency, and what do you call this? He gives the team 25% trauma resistance. Now, for those of you who may have played the beta, you know fully aware that there are three different difficulty stages. The stages do not necessarily increase the strength of the Ridden, but more so affect the player's strength. And I like this. So it's a slightly easier way to balance things out. And the reason for that is because there's this thing called corruption cards. And corruption cards are what makes Ridden stronger. And Ridden are the zombies in this game. So, because there are corruption cards that make the Ridden stronger, the difficulty selection don't make them stronger in any way. Instead, they determine the strength of the player. So, at the lowest difficulty, the players have a boost to their ammo capacity, to their trauma resistance, healing, and all of these sorts of things, and also especially friendly fire. In the medium difficulty, the orange difficulty, basically they have reduced stamina resistance and increased friendly fire damage, and they lose a lot of bonuses. They lose the extra ammo bonuses, they lose most of these bonuses. And in the last red difficulty, I think it's nightmare or something, but it's red difficulty. In that difficulty, friendly fire is a lot more harsh, and there's a few more other elements that come into play. But basically, as you go into higher difficulties, trauma resistance is quite important. And trauma is basically your character actually, when they kind of swarmed or anything like that, and let's say that what do you call this? You take a lot of damage, right? What happens is the health that your character has, or rather the maximum health that they have, will start to get this negative buffer, and you can see it accumulating on your health bar. And as time goes on, your healing items will not heal you beyond that health bar. So far, I've noticed that the only things that can solve this is, I believe, the large medkit, and also if you find the kind of the healing box. There's like a box that's located in certain parts of the map. If you interact with it, it'll heal you. And I believe that item and also the large medkit are the only things that can push back this trauma resistance, or rather the trauma, to heal your character fully. So if you don't have trauma resistance, the amount of health that you can heal is going to constantly be reduced over time. And it makes it more difficult for you to progress through a certain level. And this is any damage you take from a zombie, and I'm not sure whether the weapon damage affects you, like causes trauma, because I haven't really tested by throwing bombs on myself or whatever. But I'm very sure that the Ridden damage definitely affects your trauma. And at higher levels, having more trauma resistance may be useful because you'll be facing a lot more swarms and you are bound to take damage no matter how you look at it. Especially the spitters and whatever from range, they will be doing damage to you. And if you don't have sufficient trauma resistance, you're going to be at like a half health, that and the maximum you can heal is half. So for you to progress through like an alleyway or something is going to be super scary. So this is a decent ability for a late game, and also with the healing efficiency, especially in coordinated teams, I do believe that healing will be a very essential part of this game. And also especially at higher difficulties, you'll have a team that will be able to share out, weapons, share out healing items, and figure things out together. Because I played a lot of the public lobby experience, and I only noticed a few players who actually bothered about health and healing. But when they do, it really makes a difference. Next character is Evangelo. Evangelo basically has this ability where every 60 seconds, he can sort of get this sprint burst. It's sort of like a sudden sprint burst, and it doesn't always happen because you have to be sort of grappled or slowed down by a horde of zombies for this to trigger. But when it does, it feels pretty fun because you as this character, when I played Evangelo, I almost never get caught. And the reason is because when I do get caught, I'm escaped, and you will only likely get caught in like a minute or 2 minutes. So every 60 seconds is actually kind of good enough, I would say. So you always feel like you're moving, constantly able to move with this character, getting out of places and moving in and all that. So he's a really fun character, and also gives the entire team a 5% movement speed boost, which is really, really important in outrunning a zombie. If you guys have watched Zombieland, you know rule number one of surviving the apocalypse, which is cardio. Next one is Hoffman. Hoffman is also one of my more favorite characters because of the fact that he starts off with the +1 offensive inventory. And I feel this is really important because a lot of the time the team can come up across a lot of, what do you call this, throwable grenades and pipe bombs and molotovs and all of these sorts of things. And sometimes you just need one extra inventory slot. And at other times, what people do is they go and throw the grenade they have in their hand just to kill whatever they can and then pick up the next one. But when you have the +1 offensive inventory, you can immediately at least add another grenade to your inventory, and Hoffman can spend his time throwing these things. He also gives his entire team plus 10% ammo capacity, which are both great buffs. Now, I have noticed that certain things like the offensive inventory slot can actually be purchased for the entire team. It's quite expensive and usually can be purchased during the third or fourth safe house, and I think I have it in my video. But if you can get the +1 offensive inventory for the entire team, purchase it. It may cost you 2,500. What do you call this, credits or whatever, copper, but just go ahead and get it because it's super strong. And especially pipe bombs, I always go for pipe bombs because those are just insanely useful. They pull away most of the Ridden, and it's really, really good from getting out of sticky situations, and sometimes even just clearing a stage, because you could just throw a pipe bomb and run for the safe house, and you'd more than often just make it because you can. Next one is Holly. Holly basically is a very powerful melee character because she recovers 10 stamina whenever she kills a Ridden, and she has the plus 10 damage resistance. She also gives the team plus 25 stamina. So this combined with the melee attacks heal you. There's a perk that you can take that heals you when you do melee attacks, and there's another perk that heals you when your life is at critical. Basically means that Holly can lifesteal her way through entire hordes just by carrying a useful melee weapon. And the melee weapon, I think, with better range is usually the bat. Machete is still okay, but I believe the bat has slightly further range with slightly lesser damage. But regardless, the stamina is really useful when you're using a melee weapon. And Holly is just one of those characters that can just, bash her way through entire hordes. And if you're a person that likes to go melee or really wants to keep it as a secondary weapon, please go ahead. The alternative is you have to take the your sort of knockback or bash attack, the V button bash attack. You can swap that for a knife. It's one of the perks, and if you use that knife, it counts as a melee weapon as well, and it'll also heal you. But of course, it's not as powerful as an actual secondary melee weapon, which is just going to be way better. The next one is Jim. Jim basically gives, as it says, 5% damage up to 50% when you do precision kills, and he can look down sights a little bit faster. Now, this character may be really good for sharpshooters. I'm not necessarily sure whether it is going to be specifically better because sniper rifles are not really the best option in this game. You can use sniper rifles like in a coordinated team. You can have that one guy that shoots down specials before they even reach you, which is going to be really good. But more than often, you find yourselves in tough spaces, and of course, it's nice to look down, a sniper rifle and take down a special in one shot instead of just spending time just shooting away. But at the same time, you rather just have what do you call this, more rapid fire, because sometimes you can get swarmed, and when your team is down and you're getting swarmed, you don't really have the time to use your secondary gun to just shoot down all these things because it's not going to have enough ammo. But at the same time, if you use something like an assault rifle and you can land a lot of headshots, I feel that that's slightly better. So you can get something like an iron sight or a laser sight, and just use something like an assault rifle and get a lot of precision kills, and your damage is going to ramp up. And it's pretty easy to ramp up damage to take down specials just using an assault rifle. And I think that's pretty much the best weapon to go to, even for Jim. But if you guys are sniper specialists, I mean, go ahead. The next one I noticed is Carly, and Carly, as it says, can sense nearby hazards. And what type of hazards you normally face are the zombies that are stuck to the walls. And these zombies on the walls, they can jump and grapple you. And those are the most common hazard that you would really need to avoid. I'm not sure if beyond the first campaign that they had in the beta, there will be more introduced, but there has to be because seems like hazards may be a more general thing. The second one, it says, is a +1 quick inventory, and quick inventory basically is like your the I believe is the regular what do you call this, like healing slot item, where you can pick like pills and bandages and stuff like that, and that sounds pretty interesting to use. Wait, let me just make sure that it is the bandages and not the what do you call this, the resurrection thing. Ah, yes. Okay, so I have confirmed it. And I had to because I haven't played as Carly specifically, but I realized it's actually quite powerful. The quick slot inventory is the inventory that allows you to use the defibrillator. Um, and I believe there's also a stun gun. There's a few things, but normally I've seen the defibrillator or the stun gun taking that slot. And this is especially powerful in situations where you can carry two defibrillators, if I'm not mistaken, using this ability. And defibrillators are really powerful because they can res your teammate up in like 2 or 3 seconds, which is super powerful compared to the normal time that you take, which can be close to 8 or 10 seconds. So having this, I think in general is really powerful. And also, as it says, it increases the team use speed by 25%, which makes her defibrillator speed even faster. And I think this would make her a really powerful sort of field medic. because you can just run into the field and quickly get people up, as well as use bandages and healing items on them a little bit faster. So yeah, this is actually a pretty interesting character. I may investigate her in the future. Mom. So yeah, Mom can basically instantly revive and incapacitate a teammate once per level. This is an interesting ability this character has. So I initially found this out when Mom was a bot, and the bot got up my teammate super fast, and I thought it's like a bug that bots can, insta rest people because they're bots. But then I realized it's because Mom has this instant revive ability, where you just press E and your teammate immediately gets up in like 1 or 2 seconds, and it's as powerful as having a defibrillator. And also she has +1 support inventory, so you can take an extra med pack, any healing items and stuff like that. And it also gives the team +1 extra life, which is super useful, especially if you're playing in very high difficulty. And don't think that this is a newbie thing to take. Even I feel that good players may be needing this, just because you don't want players who go down to die in the next time they go down within the same level. Basically, each time you are downed, you lose 1 life, and if you don't have the extra life, the second time you go down, it's over for you. You're instantly counted as dead, and then you gotta rush to the safe house as fast as you can. So having this is useful, especially combined with specific active cards, and I'll talk about that in a bit. There are certain cards that really amp up the extra life ability and give it so much value, so I'll be showing that. Walker. The Walker precision kills grant him extra increased accuracy and extra damage. So I feel that Walker and Jim both, you know, are both quite powerful in their own way. Walker, especially, I feel maybe even more powerful with light machine guns, just because light machine guns already do so much damage. So +10 damage gives it way more power, and +20% accuracy basically turns your light machine guns into a 50% increased damage assault rifle. And it's really powerful also because light machine guns have so much ammo capacity. I think that's the 245 or something that had like 80 ammo capacity, which is insane. It allowed me to like dump like an entire um, what do you call this, set of bullets onto one special turn and continue killing the second special, which I feel has so much of value, instead of me needing to reload. Of course, it's really fast to reload an assault rifle, but just sometimes the half second that counts when you want to turn over and just continue shooting, I think it really adds a bit of value. And Walker also gives the entire team +10 health, and I think that that's also a pretty decent thing. Both have reasonable value. There are a few things that may be able to be balanced, especially I feel maybe this could be 15 health or 20 health, just because 10 health is not really, especially in later levels, 10 health is really nothing. You lose 10 health in like a single regular zombie swipe. And as compared to 10% weak spot damage, it really has difference in value. Right, the next one is the corruption cards. So the corruption cards is the buff for the specials in the game. And this is the only difficulty increase for specials. Of course, in higher difficulties, more corruption cards come into play, and they affect the way certain specials, they evolve certain specials ability. Like as you can see, bruises regenerate while in a frenzy. So certain things like this you have to really be aware of, because if you see certain things like it says acid spews leave dangerous bile pools, like from wretches especially, if you see this particular thing, you have to be super careful not to stand in the wretches, what do you call this, the acid pool, because you could just melt and die really really fast. And it says weak spots are the only way to take down this horrible amalgamation. You have to be super careful because ogres can be really really scary in fights, and if you're not ready for it, I think, especially as the campaigns unlock, then maybe you may even face 2 ogres in a single round. And if you get this particular corruption card, you could be screwed if you can't aim its weak spot. So corruption cards do give you value when you manage to complete killing that specific Ridden, but the buff lasts throughout the entire round. So you have to be really careful of the corruption cards you face. And this is what really sort of mixes and matches the difficulty in the game, but because it's random, there is still certain room for a smooth match as opposed to a completely screwed match. It's really different. So the next thing is the active cards. Now this is where the depth of the game really kicks in, because every character has the ability to mix and match active cards, and they play well with certain cleaners, and in general they help the entire team. Now I do believe that they're not fully. Let me see. Expand. Closed alpha. Okay. Early access beta. Right. This is what we gotta look at. So let me show you this specific card, which is this is when you kill an enemy. So this is pretty cool. You gain 10 stamina instantly, and an additional 10 stamina. But there is one where when anyone your team goes down. Let's see. When you throw an offensive accessory, gain 20 temporary health and 20% movement speed. Really, really useful to combo with Hoffman. If you have several grenades, you can throw these, and you gain the temporary health and move speed to get out of sticky situations. You can throw a pipe bomb, and you can run for it, or throw a Molotov and run for it. Yeah, the pain mats basically become stimulants, so you should be collecting as many pain mats as you can see. This will be useful to combine with the person with extra medical inventory slots. Team effects. Oh, this is a pretty good team effect. All these team effects in general, I think, are really, really strong just because they buff everyone. There you go. There you go. This is the one. Inspiring sacrifice. So when you or a teammate becomes incapacitated, all teammates heal for 25 health over 10 seconds. So basically, this can bring a team up to almost 70% health because it's 250 health in total. Of course, it takes time to heal, but nothing is going to stop this healing if you're in a safe spot. So, if you have the inspiring sacrifice and you take something that gives you extra one team life, basically each time an ally goes down, or rather, you can even take the chance to sacrifice your ally. To get your ally down just so the healing triggers, and then get that ally back up using mom's instant revive, and then continue the fight. And it's a pretty insane combo, I must say. So I'm pretty sure I see inspiring sacrifice being used by a lot of teams, especially in higher level. And it does not say anything about whether this doesn't stack or anything like that. So, I mean, ideally, you just want this to be on one ally, and it's going to affect the entire team. So I wish the only thing that is shown. Oh yeah, actually they do show it. They do show your team's team effects, whatever your other teammates are carrying as cards. So if you already see inspiring sacrifice being in play, I believe that it's pretty straightforward that you know that you can do this, which is down, allowing your teammate to even go down if necessary to get the heal, and then bringing them back up in certain fights, just so the entire team doesn't go down all at once. And this is super useful. So yeah, the active cards really provide a lot of depth to the game. Of course, there are certain things that can be balanced, and I believe that certain cards are just better than others in general because of their level and difficulty in obtaining them. So yeah, this is the real big difference between this game and the original Left 4 Dead. The next one is the Ridden. Now, the Ridden itself have a pretty cool backstory, which is the fact that they all originate from the devil worm parasite. And the lore states that the devil worm parasite is a parasite of extraterrestrial origin. And when the humans contract the devil worms, they transform into homicidal, mutant zombie like beings known as Ridden. I like this. This is, for me, the ideal way a zombie apocalypse could happen, which is an extraterrestrial, creature that has these kind of parasitic, what do you call this, inhabitants or whatever, that come and latch onto human beings, specifically targeting them because they are the most intelligent organisms or whatever. Especially you see zombies going for the brain, right? And it's mostly because our brains are technically superior than all the other organisms on Earth. And I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But at the same time, this is the ideal way I see a zombie apocalypse realistically happening, which is what makes this lore, I feel, pretty much the best way things could go wrong. So the Ridden, basically you have a lot of the common Ridden, which are just and even among them you see certain differences. Some of them they sit around, they wait for a while. Some of them they just walking randomly. Some of them they're pretty alert, they run at you right away. And some of them they don't really do anything. They just stand there, they wait to get shot and they die. The kind of shambler zombies, right? And then the special ridden are pretty unique. They have the stingers, the reekers, the tall boy, the snitchers. And then the I'm not sure what a sleeper is. I haven't seen that, but they could be the ones I was talking about. They're common ones that just die. But we don't have a witch. So the snitcher is sort of the witch in this game. The snitcher basically makes a crap ton of noise the moment you approach it, and it detects you. So stealth does come into play a bit, but more than often there are situations where you're just shooting your way through a horde of zombies, and you don't really have time for a lot of stealth. I do believe in a team the situations improve because people are more coordinated. They do make slightly wiser decisions of entering a certain area, and they can avoid the snitch altogether if they just pop it before it screams its head off. The tall boys are an okay bruiser. I feel the charger was more cool just because it can grab a teammate and just send them flying in one direction. The Reeker is scary. The Reeker is very much closer to the Boomer in Left 4 Dead 2 and is still as terrifying. The Stinger I feel is not as interesting as the what is the thing in Left 4 Dead 2? Basically, it can pull a teammate to one corner. The Stinger can't really pull the person, but it can what do you call this? Fire this painful goo thing and also stick like trap a person in a specific area. We don't have the likes of the jockey, which is a very creepy zombie from Left 4 Dead 2. We don't have that. But we do have these boss-like specials: the Breaker, the Hag, the Ogre, and of course the worms. Now, I haven't specifically seen. Wait, let me see. Have I seen the Breaker? Okay, that's the Breaker. The Hag. Okay, I have not seen the Hag. Yeah. Okay, I've not seen the Hag though, but yeah, the rest of these are pretty interesting. I would like to see what other variations there are. Maybe with certain corruption cards, if they look a little more different, that'll be pretty interesting. But as for the guns and all of that is super fun, very smooth. I've not had any crashes in the game. My FPS is I usually cap my FPS to 60, but I've noticed the FPS running pretty smooth at close to 140 at least for me. And I'm running a pretty old rig. I'm running a 1070 GTX NVIDIA, and it's running pretty smoothly for me. And I think that this game has a great future, especially with the combinations they're going for. I do feel it being slightly overpriced at this point. I think if it were at half its price, I would have just bought it without a second thought. But for right now, I'm holding back just a little longer just to see if there's hopefully a discount in the future and perhaps a little more depth to the lore. And then perhaps I will be definitely investing in this because it's an awesome game. It's super fun, especially with a coordinated team. There's so many things you can do, so many combinations. And this thing alone, this active card combination, is going to unlock so many potential strategy. It's just that it would be good if this strategy really counts, like having the um, a combination of the supports together with the what do you call this, the sort of flanking class, the sniper class, like how these combinations really affect the gameplay would be pretty cool. Because I remember moments in Left 4 Dead 2 where when all hell, like everything, just goes sideways, all you gotta do is just grab a machete, sit in one corner, and just swipe, and you can basically win against a lot of hordes. Even in the hardest difficulty mode, I've done that. I've just picked up a melee weapon. I think it's a hammer or an axe or something. Just find a corner in the highest difficulty mode and just swipe. You can kill most infected zombies, and especially against only thing you really gotta avoid is the boomer, because the boomer is the only thing that can come up to your face and cause an explosion in a horde. So you just got to use your secondary weapon to just pop the boomer before it approaches you, and use your melee attack to kill every other zombie in the game. And I really hope that that is not the case in this game, and that the strategies really come into play, and that will be super exciting for me. As for the graphics and all of the other stuff, the music and all is super cool. The music is pretty nice, I have to say. I wish that it is a little more memorable, like maybe Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2 has some pretty good scores as well. Like if I look up on YouTube the scores just to compare, I feel that Left 4 Dead 2 has some pretty good scores as well. Probably because of the memories that you had in that game, that sort of thing. But anyway, this is my review of this game with all the elements that I could cover, and I feel that all of these are what makes this game better in every way almost. And I really want to see this lore build up more. Like all of these things that we saw in the trailer, you don't get to see them in the game. I wish that they talked about a little more along in the campaign, and maybe we will see that once the actual game releases. And I hope that that is really the case. And I would like to see us finding a sort of a solution to this, even if it is not a permanent solution, maybe a sort of a way that we can resolve and find some safe camps and actually have like communication between characters and people in the safe camp that actually affect the story that we play, because it sort of reminds me of the kind of safe zone area in Anthem, where your character can walk around this safe zone, but it doesn't really affect you as much just because the game didn't really have much depth to it. And I don't want this to be the case. I know it's an FPS, but even as a even as a first person shooter, it should have some kind of a story to back it up, and that would make it perfect because the strategy is already there, so you're almost good to go. So yeah, that's it for me. If you guys haven't already checked it out, you could probably only check out gameplays at this point because the beta is closed and everyone's waiting for the official launch, which I believe takes place in October, which will be a great month for Halloween as well. A good way for them to come up with some sort of an awesome event, which will hopefully be collaborated with the idea of Halloween in mind. And I would like there to be some sort of a discount just so that the general population of players could find it a little more easy to pick up the game. But at the same time, if they feel that they are selling you premium, then they really should improve on making the strategies feel a little more valuable, have more lore, have more depth, and then perhaps I would just pick it up at its current price. But otherwise, I'm going to hold on. So yeah, that's it from me. I hope I'll see you guys in game actually. So yeah, take care.